Alright, my math friends, we are moving on in Chapter 3. We have the last part of Chapter 3.2. We're going to be looking at adding and subtracting rational numbers using word problems. Okay, so some decimals and some fractions in word problems. And what I really want us to focus in on today is being able to tell the difference between an addition problem using a word problem and a subtraction word problem, because it's hard to tell. These word problems are so tricky, and I'm going to give you some tips on how to tell the difference between subtraction problems and addition problems. Alright, but I also need to tell you that it's hard to teach word problems, like I've said before, because not all word problems are going to be exactly the same. So I can't tell you exactly how to go about solving each one. I can only give you some tips that are going to work for most word problems. Not all, but most. Let's take a look at addition first. Let's see what we're given. When you're looking at an addition word problem, what you're given is like a story of things that happen, story or sequence. You're looking at a sequence of events, like one thing happens and another thing happens and another thing, and it kind of tells a story. And what you're trying to find is the total of those things. Alright, so we're going to add up all the different parts of a story. Subtraction, what we're given is usually the start of something, where something started, and the finish. That's what you look for in the word problem. And what we are trying to find is what happened in between the start and the finish. Okay, so we're given like a starting situation, an ending situation. We want to find out what happened in the middle. Okay, that's what I want us to look out for as we're going through these things. Okay, first word problem. Malachi hikes for 2.5 miles and stops for lunch. Then he hikes for 1.5 more miles. How many miles did he hike altogether? Okay, here's our story. See, it follows this addition word problem. He did this and then he did that. Alright, it's like a story, two things going together. So we're going to take those two pieces. Hikes for 2.5 miles, that's positive. Hikes for another 1.5 miles, that's also positive. We're going to add those together, 2.5 plus 1.5. And that's going to get me 4.0, or 4 miles altogether. Okay, see how that followed like a sequence, like a story? Let's take a look at problem number 2. This is also going to be an addition problem, and see if you can spot the story of this. We have Kyle pours out 3/4 liter of liquid from a beaker. So I'm going to put some brackets around that. Pouring water or pouring liquid out, you're losing, so that's going to be negative. Then he pours out another ½ liter of liquid, so losing more, that's negative. What is the overall change in the amount of liquid in the beaker? Okay, another story here. Look, he did this and then he did that. Okay, it follows a sequence. So we're going to take those two things that happened in our story and we are going to add them together to find out how much liquid was lost. So we know that he lost -3/4 plus, and I'm going to use some parentheses here just to help keep this separated, -1/2. And we want to find out what that equals. Alright? Dealing with fractions here, we got to get common denominators. That's the pesky thing about fractions. Looking at this 2, I know that I can multiply the 2 by 2 and it'll make it a 4, which would make a common denominator. So I'm just going to take 1/2 times 2 times 2, and that's going to change it to 2/4. So I'll rewrite my problem. -3/4 plus, this time it's -2/4. And let's see what happens. Add your numerators. They're both negative. Following our rules for adding negatives, we can add like normal to get -5/4. Okay? we ended up with an improper fraction. So we're going to have to change this into a mixed number. I'll just show you really quick through some division. This is just a simple division problem. You can take 4 into 5, that'll go in there one time, minus 4, we get a remainder of 1. So it went in there one whole time, that's our whole number. And we have 1 as a remainder, which goes on top, and the number on the outside goes on the bottom. So Kyle lost negative 1/4 liter, we'll put an L there for liter, of liquid. Okay? Problem number 3, let's check this out. During the day, the temperature increases by 4.5 degrees. At night, the temperature decreases by 7.5 degrees. What is the overall change in temperature? That's what we're trying to find. Check out this story. See, it tells you during the day, the temperature went up. Alright, increasing, that's positive. At night, the temperature decreases. It went down by 7.5 degrees. Can you picture that story in your head? Daytime, the temperature going up, nighttime, the temperature going down. Okay, it follows a sequence. We're going to add those numbers together to see what we have. We have 4.5 plus, use your parentheses here so you don't get confused thinking that's a minus sign, because that's going to be a negative 7.5. Alright? Now check this out, we're adding them together, but they are different. One's positive, one's negative. So we have to go back to our rules for adding different numbers. So we're going to have to subtract them. Put our bigger number on top for subtracting. Let's go 7.5 minus 4.5. Subtract those, we're going to end up with 3.0. Now let's find out if our answer has to be positive or negative. Look at your numbers. My 7.5 is bigger, so it must be negative. So this is going to be negative 3.0. So we can say negative 3 degrees. Alright? Okay, we got that one done. Let's take a look at some subtraction problems and let's see if we can spot the change. Okay, we'll take a look at these. Subtraction problems can look a lot like addition problems. It's hard to tell the difference, but we do want to see if we have a start and finish. Let's check this out. A cave explorer climbed from an elevation of negative 11 meters to an elevation of negative 5 meters. What vertical distance did the explorer climb? Okay, that's what we're trying to find out. Alright, this is a start and finish problem because see, it tells you he climbed from this elevation. So he's starting here. Here is our start. He started here and then he got to an elevation of negative 5 meters. So this is our finish. He started here and that's our finish. Okay, it looks kind of like an addition problem, but it is a little bit different because we have a start and we have a finish. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to go backwards just a little bit to help to clear this up. Okay, going back to our addition problem. Okay, look at this one with Malachi. He hikes for 2.5 miles. We have no idea where he started. We just know he went 2.5 miles and then he hikes for another 1.5 miles. It doesn't tell us where he ends. It just says he went this far and then he went this much further. Let's take a look at this one. See, Kyle, he pours out this much liquid. We don't know how much liquid he started with. And then he says it pours out another half liter of liquid. We don't know where he's ending. We don't know how much liquid he started with or how much he ended with. That's why it's not subtraction. This one, same thing. Temperature increased by this amount. We don't know where the temperature started. We just know it went up. Okay, and we don't know where the temperature ended. We just know that it went down. This is a story. It's a sequence. Looking at this one, let's see if we can look at the difference. See, the cave explorer climbed from an elevation of 11 meters. He started here. And then he ended, it says, to an elevation of 5 meters. He finished here. Okay, there's just a little bit of a difference between addition and subtraction problems. So I want us to try and get used to spotting those because it can be hard to tell the difference sometimes. Okay, now that we have this, what I'm going to do is I need to subtract these two. And how I like to subtract these ones is I like to go the final minus start. Okay, so I'm going to take my final, negative 5 meters. Oh, hold on, I have a phone call, excuse me. Alright guys, we are back. Sorry about that. Final minus start. Let's set this up. We're going to take negative 5, that's our final, minus, get yourself some parentheses because we have this negative 11, minus our start. Alright, now we're going to see what happened. We are subtracting. Remember your friend, same change, change. That's going to be a good buddy for you. He helps you out because it turns this into an addition problem, which is a lot easier to work with. Alright, now look what we got. Negative 5 plus 11. Our rule says when we're adding and they're different, we need to subtract. 11 minus 5 simply comes out to 6. It's going to be a positive 6 because our 11 is bigger and it's positive. So this is going to be 6, and we'll label that for meters. Alright, there's our first subtraction problem. Let's take a look at the next one. Oh, I thought I had another one. Let me pause this for a second. Alright, here's the page I was looking for, the one with some more subtraction problems. Let's take a look at this next one, number 2. A diver dove to a location 6 1/5 meters below sea level. He then dove to a second location 8 3/5 meters below sea level. How many meters are between the two locations? Okay, see, we have a start and a finish. It says he dove to this. Okay, he went here, so he's starting here. Alright, and let's see, if he's diving to a location below sea level, that's going to be negative. And then he dove to this location. Okay, it doesn't say how far he dove. It says he just started here and then went down and arrived right here at this location. I'm going to put some brackets here so we have this. Alright, this one is also below sea level. Okay, and then see this, see how it's we're trying to find what happened in between. It tells us right here what happened in between the two locations. How many meters are there from the start location to the finish? Alright, these can look really similar to addition problems, can't they? It just takes trying to look at them differently, and notice just the detailed difference between the two. Alright, we're going to subtract this. So we're going to go with our finish minus start, F minus S. And let's see, we have 8 3/5 negative minus, get your parentheses going for this fraction, negative 6 1/5. And we have to do same change, change because we're subtracting. There we go. And now we have negative 8 3/5 plus positive 6 1/5. That means we have to subtract those two. So let's do that. I'm going to start with my bigger fraction, 8 3/5. And I'm going to take away 6 1/5. Alright, I'll write it down here because I'm running out of room. Let's subtract our whole numbers first. That's going to give me 2. Get your numerator subtracted. That's also going to get you 2. And our denominator just stays the same. We're left with 2 2/5. Can't simplify it. That's good news. I didn't feel like doing that anyway. Now let's take a look at what we got. Our bigger number was negative, so that means our answer has to be negative. So 2 2/5 meters are between those two locations. Alright. Number 3, let's check it out. The temperature of an outdoor thermometer on Monday was 5.5 degrees Celsius. See, we're starting here because it's telling us exactly what the temperature was. 5.5 degrees. And it's positive. Alright. The temperature on Thursday was 7.25 degrees less than the temperature on Monday. Okay, this one, the wording changes a little bit. It says that it was less than the temperature Monday. How you can tell this is a subtraction problem, this less than always lets you know that we got subtraction going on. Okay, so we're going to subtract these two. numbers here, we're going to get this set up. So we're going to take, it says 7.25 less than the temperature Monday. Okay, so I have to take Monday's temperature and then 2.5 less than that. So here's Monday's temperature. And I'm going to take 7.25 away from Monday's temperature because that's what it tells us to do. Less than Monday's temperature. Alright? They're both positive, but we are subtracting. We have to do some same change. Alright, now it has become this. A positive number adding a negative number. That means we got to subtract. So I'm going to put my bigger number on top when we're subtracting. Minus, and I have to go 5.5. Notice how I lined up those decimal points. I'm going to put a 0 in the empty space. Okay, that comes out to 5. We're going to have 7 for 12 minus 5, and then 1. So we have 1.75 degrees. That was the temperature on Thursday. Let's take a look if it has to be positive or negative. Looks like we're going to make it negative since our bigger number was negative. Negative 1.75 degrees, and it is in Celsius this time. Alright, that is our answer.